Flood insurance is not required in which type of financing for a structure located in an SFHA called the Special Flood Hazard Area. So when is flood insurance not required? Remember, it's a flood zone A. So that's flood zone A is called an SFHA. It's a Special Flood Hazard Area. That's what they mean. Okay, that's just the actual letter we use is A. So let's take a look at this. Now, we're going to kind of go over a few extra things. I got an extra couple things I want to talk about flood insurance. Remember, types of insurance: conventional and government loans require flood insurance in an SFA, a Special Flood Hazard Area. Okay, conventional and government loans. The one that doesn't require is a private seller, unless they want to protect their interest, but it's not required. So only dealing with federally related loans, conventional and government loans are only going to require in a special flood area. Okay. Now let's go over a little bit about insurance, because you may see these on the state exam. Everybody's familiar with fire, wind, and hail, or fire and hazard. This is on residential property. Again, lenders will require it. Okay. In Florida, if you got a named tropical storm under the first bullet, and it's a threat, they can suspend insurance policies if you're in escrow. Okay. So keep an eye on that when you get into hurricane season, because you may have to do some jockeying around and extensions on your contracts due to amendments stating about storm threats in the area, because insurance companies won't write a binder. Okay, when it comes to fire and wind and hail, flood insurance, storm surge, all that stuff. If there's a storm approaching the coastline, they're not going to write a binder for it. So that could delay your closing. Okay, everybody's familiar with flood insurance. Okay, storm surges, again, could be a separate policy. Flood insurance is for rising water. Rising water. Storm surge insurance is for a storm surge. Okay, so there may be 3 separate policies that now insurance companies are requiring to put on their properties. Okay, so watch that. Consequential loss, use, and occupancy. This has to do, supplementing an income for a business or a storm surge, right? For businesses that produce income. So there is insurance properties, again, not really required by requirement for these types of loans, but these are optional insurance for the property owner. Okay. So in case a disaster does come and they're out of business, they've got a supplemental income. It's called consequential loss, use, and occupancy. And the reason I emphasize number 4 is because I had a student one time tell me they saw that test question on the exam, identifying a type of insurance policy that would supplement an income due to a disaster. And there were several names, of which number 4 was an answer. So make note of that. General liability, again, this is just a insurance policy covering you, say you're an investor, your property, for anybody that may fall, trip hazard, or something like that. Okay. And then casualty, burglary, theft, vandalism. So you want to know a few of these basic types of insurance. Remember, not required for private seller financing. Okay. So consequential loss, use, and occupancy is an insurance policy that is optional to the property owner. So when the property owner puts that policy on there, if a disaster of whatever type, so if there is such a policy on that business, then there could be a supplemental payout on a policy due to a disaster, because they are lacking the ability to be able to either rent and or do business. Okay. And it's consequential loss due to a disaster. Okay.
For more practice questions, videos, and insight into the state exam, we encourage you to join our free webinar, How to Pass the Real Estate Exam Without Your Real Estate Book and with only 15 to 20 hours of study time. Get registered now at myrealestatetutor.com/exam.